haunted ghost towns of the Wild West, exploring America's abandoned settlements. Welcome to the Wild West, where the saloons were rowdy, the outlaws were ruthless, and the ghost stories, well, they're downright chilling. In today's journey, we'll be stepping into America's haunted past to visit the ghost towns that were once bustling hubs of life, but now, they're little more than eerie echoes of a bygone era. Grab your cowboy hat and your EMF meter, because today, we're exploring the haunted ghost towns of the Wild West. If you're looking for a vacation spot where you're guaranteed to make friends, alive or otherwise, this is the video for you. Section 1. What is a ghost town? Well, it's not just a town with really bad Wi-Fi. A ghost town is an abandoned settlement, a relic of what was once a thriving community. Back in the Wild West, towns popped up faster than gold fever could spread, thanks to mining, railroads, and the occasional land rush. But just as quickly as they were born, many of them met their demise. When the gold dried up, the railroads changed course, or the locals realized living in the middle of nowhere with no water wasn't the greatest plan. Well, these towns were abandoned faster than you can say, yeehaw. But here's the catch, many of these places didn't just become empty shells, they became something much creepier, haunted. Section 2, Bodie, California, the crown jewel of ghost towns. First up on our paranormal tour is Bodie, California. If ghost towns had a prom, Bodie would be crowned the queen. It was once a booming gold mining town, home to 10,000 residents at its peak. The streets were lined with saloons, opium dens, and gambling halls, a real good time kind of place. But, as you might have guessed, the good times didn't last. By the 1880s, gold production slowed, and the population dwindled. Today, Bodie is frozen in time, a ghostly remnant of the Old West. Visitors can wander its abandoned streets and peek into its withered buildings. But be careful, the locals may not all be gone. Rumor has it that Bodie is home to some residents who never quite left. Visitors report seeing shadowy figures in windows, hearing disembodied voices, and experiencing cold spots, classic ghostly behavior. And if that doesn't give you the chills, there's even a curse. That's right, folks, take anything from Bodie, even a pebble, and you'll be cursed with bad luck. Many a tourist has mailed their souvenirs back after experiencing a string of unfortunate events. So, when you visit, remember, look, but don't touch. You might end up with more than you bargained for. Section 3, the ghosts of Tombstone, Arizona. Now, you can't talk about ghost towns without mentioning the notorious town of Tombstone, Arizona. Tombstone wasn't just a Wild West town, it was the Wild West town. Famous for the gunfight at the Corral, Tombstone was where lawmen and outlaws faced off in deadly duels. Today, it's both a tourist hotspot and a paranormal one. The Birdcage Theater in Tombstone is said to be one of the most haunted places in the West. This old theater was once a gambling den, saloon, and brothel, a place where more than a few folks met an untimely end. Visitors report seeing full-bodied apparitions of cowboys and ladies of the night, still carrying on like it's the 1880s. Ghostly laughter, footsteps, and the sound of poker chips clinking can often be heard in the dead of night. If that's not enough, there's Boot Hill Graveyard, where many of Tombstone's most infamous characters are buried. Legend has it that some of them haven't quite settled into their eternal rest. People report seeing figures wandering the graveyard at night, and some even claim to have had full conversations with spirits, only to realize later that their ghostly chat partners had been dead for over a century. And you thought your last Tinder date was awkward. Section 4, the mystery of St. Elmo, Colorado. Next on our list is St. Elmo, Colorado, a once thriving mining town with a spooky twist. Founded in 1880, St. Elmo boomed with a population of over 2,000 people. But when the mining industry collapsed, the town was abandoned, except for a handful of residents who, some say, still linger to this day. Now, if you visit St. Elmo, you might think it's just another abandoned town, but don't be fooled. The spirit of Annabelle Stark, one of the town's last living residents, is said to haunt the old hotel she once managed. Annabelle never married and was fiercely attached to St. Elmo, refusing to leave even when everyone else did. To this day, people report seeing her ghost wandering the town, peeking out from behind curtains, or even standing in the windows of the hotel. Annabelle's love for the town was so strong that it seems not even death could make her leave. So, if you visit St. Elmo and feel like someone's watching you, well, you might be right. And if you hear a voice telling you to check out now, I'd take the advice. Section 5, Gold Point, Nevada, Ghosts and Gold Dust. Gold Point, Nevada, is another ghost town with a spooky reputation. In its heyday, it was a booming silver mining town, with saloons and brothels galore, because what's the Wild West without a good brothel, right? But like many mining towns, once the precious metals dried up, so did the population. Today, Gold Point has a handful of residents who keep the spirit of the town alive, and by spirit, I mean that quite literally. Some say the town is haunted by the ghosts of miners who died in tragic accidents, as well as a few Salone girls who never got their happy ending. Visitors report hearing footsteps in empty buildings, doors slamming shut, and whispers on the wind. There's even a tale of a miner who shows up in the middle of the night, covered in dust, asking for a drink. Some say if you ignore him, he disappears, but if you offer him a shot of whiskey, he'll tip his hat and vanish into the night. So, if you ever find yourself in Gold Point with an extra bottle of whiskey, you know what to do. Section 6. Ghostly Encounters in Garnet, Montana. Our last stop today takes us to Garnet, Montana, a lesser-known ghost town that's been making a lot of noise, literally. Garnet was founded in the late 1800s during Montana's gold rush, and at its peak, it was home to nearly 1,000 miners and their families. But when the gold ran out, so did the residents. Today, Garnet sits empty, or does it? Unlike some ghost towns, Garnet doesn't just rely on spooky sightings. Here, the ghosts make their presence loud and clear. Visitors often report hearing phantom footsteps echoing through the abandoned saloons, the sound of piano music drifting from the long silent dance halls, and, this is the best part, the faint chatter of ghostly partygoers. That's right, the spirits of Garnet apparently still know how to throw a shindig. One particularly eerie tale involves the Kelly Salone, where people claim to have seen shadowy figures dancing in the dead of night. Others report hearing disembodied voices, clinking glasses, and even laughter as though the saloon is still open for business. But the strangest part? When you walk inside, you're greeted by nothing but dust and silence. So, if you're ever in the mood for a ghostly good time, head on over to Garnet, where the parties never really end. Just make sure you don't cut in on anyone's dance. Ghosts are notorious for being bad dance partners. Section 7. Why Ghost Towns Haunt Us. Now, you might be wondering, why do these abandoned places still hold such a grip on our imaginations? Well, ghost towns are more than just relics of the past. They're living, or unliving, reminders of how fleeting life in the Wild West really was. These towns rose and fell in the blink of an eye, often leaving behind little more than memories and the occasional ghostly visitor. But there's also something eerie about walking through a place where people once lived, worked, and died, only to be greeted by silence. It's like the air itself is thick with stories waiting to be told, or spirits waiting to be heard. And for those brave enough to visit, ghost towns offer a rare glimpse into the past, one that's a little closer to the other side than we might be comfortable with. So, whether you believe in ghosts or not, one thing's for sure, these towns have a haunting beauty all their own. Conclusion. So, there you have it, America's haunted ghost towns, where the Wild West meets the supernatural. Whether you're chasing history or chasing ghosts, these eerie settlements offer a little something for everyone. Just remember to watch your step, and maybe leave a light on. And if you ever feel a cold breeze or hear a whisper while exploring one of these ghost towns, well, let's just say you might not be alone. But don't worry, they're probably just saying howdy. Thanks for joining us on this spine-tingling adventure. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want more tales of the unexplained. Until next time, happy hauntings.